Hi, my name is Bianca Stumpf, and I'd like to welcome you to our History 325 Modern Germany class. Granted, when you look at the course description, you may not think that 1648 is very modern, but in the study of Germanic history, we really begin looking at the conclusion of the 30 Years' War as when Germany sort of asserts itself, gets its own identity that it then builds to becoming the Germany that we know from the 19th century, the Germany, of course, we came to know in the World Wars, and the Germany of Angela Merkel and European Union prominence today. So I'd like to welcome you to the class and applaud your willingness to tackle a 300 level history course with me. I thought I would take this opportunity in this opening screencast video to just walk you through a couple of critical elements of our course. The first thing I'd like to say is my name is Bianca Stumpf, and I have been teaching at Campbell University online for, got to do quick math now, about 8 years, and this was one of the first classes I ever taught at Campbell, so I do have a lot of experience and a real joy for this topic. I'm actually the daughter of a Bavarian mom, and so certainly German history is not only a professional interest for me, but a personal one. Each time you log into this class, I would encourage you to carefully review all the announcements as you see in the screencast here. The very first time in this orientation video as you're watching, you'll note that you too will have an announcement directing you to look over key parts of the course. The first thing I encourage is for you to check out on the left-hand navigation menu the link that reads Orientation Start Here. I will do that now. And it opens for you a step-by-step orientation to get you familiar with the way this course will be formatted in our weeks together. I'll encourage you to check out websites that are specific to academics at Campbell University and online education. I'll ask you in the orientation before you really dive into the material to closely examine the course syllabus, the calendar of due dates, and other special requirements for our study. And your very first assignment is an orientation assignment, which pushes you to our virtual discussion, our discussion board forum, where I get to know you and you me and your classmates, and we talk a little bit about just our prior experience, if any, none is required, with Germany and the study of German history. So that's your first step. I'll back up a little bit. I've already mentioned the critical role that announcements play. Asked you at the beginning of your time in our course together to review and make sure you follow all the steps of the orientation. I'd like to click briefly on the syllabus and schedule. And you'll notice at that navigation area, I have posted for you a Word document version and a PDF version of our course syllabus. Now, in this particular orientation video, you can see that it's designated for Fall 2 2016, but whatever semester you take this course, you would have a syllabus added that would be appropriate to match the dates of the course. I'll just open up a version of the syllabus for just a minute. The syllabus that you will have for our Blackboard course will follow this format as we patiently wait for technology. You'll see my contact information, you'll see the dates of the semester's duration, the university mission, the course descriptions, learning outcomes, and I will say about the learning outcomes in my history courses at Campbell, we tend to focus on social, political, religious, intellectual, technical, and economic facets of a country or people's past. And each time for a unit, we tend to have a quiz, as you'll see on the right-hand side in this table, a discussion board forum or blog that allows you to interact with your peers, and some sort of writing assessment that has as its goal gauging your understanding of the elements I mentioned, the social, the political, the religious, the intellectual, the technical, and the economic. Scroll down just a bit here. I do not have a physical office at Campbell, but I do welcome interaction, of course, with you virtually. So you see various ways you can get in contact with me by telephone and by email, as well as contacts that may be helpful to you outside of me. For example, the online learning staff and help desk support. Our textbook required for this class is actually out of print. It is the Holger text of Hammer or Anvil, Modern Germany, 1648 to the present. It's actually a textbook that I used as an undergrad and as a graduate student. While it is out of print, the Campbell University bookstore does sell scanned and spiral-bound copies. Or you can go to a place like Amazon or Barnes & Noble and usually for less than $10 secure a used copy. Ideally, and soon, there will be a new edition of this text because it does a good job of hitting highlights and also integrating some commentary along with primary sources. But until that time that the publisher releases an update, we are using sort of historic copies of the text, out of date printed ones. You'll also notice in my syllabus I have some information guiding you on the technology as well as what constitutes attendance. You'll see how you earn your grade in this course. Half of your grade is earned by completing those quizzes and writing assignments that are accompanying each unit's learning outcomes. Your discussion board or blog participation is 10%, and a formal essay that is in the midterm, and then again a more comprehensive one at the final, round out the other 40% of the course. Again, since this is a 300 level history class, as I mentioned at the start of the video, I do think it's critically important that you really work on writing in the discipline. I'll provide some guidance on that a little later in the course and also give you very specific, tailored to you feedback on your writing. But really, this is the time in a 300 level class to work on integrating evidence from primary sources and from critics into a narrative piece that makes an argument about a time or a person or a place in our past. Grading. All assignments are due on the due date in order to receive on-time credit. I do accept writing assignments late, and you'll see the penalty reflected there. Quizzes, discussion boards, and the midterm and final exams, however, are not accepted late. Time expectations, communication, some expectations that I would have of you and you can have of me. And then the remainder of the syllabus section here are the university required components. About academic integrity, I do ask work to be submitted to online plagiarism detection services and take the requirement that you do and produce original quality cited work seriously. You'll also see some various other policies required by the college. The final pages of any of the syllabi in my courses look like this one. This is just an example from Fall 2, 2016. Your dates in your course in the future would be a little different, of course, but the format and the design and sequence and scope of the class would be the same. I provide online orientation, like I already talked about. Each week, typically, you complete a unit. You'll see a unit 1, 2, 3, then a midterm examination week, which is the essay that I alluded to earlier. Unit 4, Unit 5, and then a final exam, which again is another essay, as I alluded earlier. Every now and then there are schedule changes. Typically, of course, these are only to your benefit. If there's a problem with technology or some sort of unforeseen circumstance at the university, then I might go in and say, all right, everyone, the assignment for this week is actually due a day later or 2 or 3 days later than reflected here. I will never make deadlines more stringent or closer in time than what the syllabus reflects. All right, that was my rambling about our course syllabus, but I would encourage you, of course, to spend a lot of time in review of that. And the final thing that I will mention in the orientation video before I make some additional comments is the requirement in this class that you use a website called SAS Curriculum Pathways. Each time that requirement is part of your unit study, I will direct you how to use it, but I do have a kind of landing pad here in the syllabus and schedule button, a tutorial about how you will use that log and subscription website, and just want to draw your attention to it here. Even though it will be alluded to in multiple units, if you need to kind of come back and see the tutorials or remind yourself of the password, it will always be here as well. All right, I'm going to wind this video down at the 11-minute or so mark and then pick back up with some of the other elements of the course that I wish to highlight. Thanks so much for listening, and I hope that this sort of preview of the orientation and the syllabus and schedule was of help to you.